Thank you all very much. I'm very honoured to join you, and thank you for coming out on this very cold night. I just want to start by situating my campaigning in context. I've been campaigning for human rights, including LGBT plus rights, for 56 years. I began in 1967 at the age of 15 when I was still at school. In the last 56 years, I've been involved in more than 3,000 protests. I've been arrested more than 100 times. I've been subjected to over 300 violent assaults, and there have been more than 50 attacks upon my home. But I'm still here, and I'm still campaigning. For me, the right to protest is a fundamental human right. It's what distinguishes democracies from dictatorships. So of course in North Korea there is no right to protest, nor in Russia or China or many other tyrannical states. We must cherish the right to protest even if we disagree with those who are protesting. So I did not support Brexit, but I defended the right of people who did support Brexit to protest. Sometimes, I remember on one occasion, the pro-Brexit march stopped me from getting where I needed to go. But I said to myself, it's an inconvenience, but that's the price you pay for living in a democracy. So I didn't agree with what they were doing, but I defended their right to protest. And indeed, if we look at our history, both here in Britain and around the world, every major gain for human rights and democracy has been won through protest. Protest has been the motor, the origin of all the social changes that we now enjoy. From the Chartists to the suffragettes with the right to vote, in America the Black Civil Rights Movement, and in Eastern Europe the mass protests against Soviet tyranny. The Berlin Wall fell because of mass protests, not because the leaders of the old Soviet Union and their satellite regimes agreed and benignly decided to change. So for me, this right to protest is so important, we must cherish and protect it. And right now, our government is whittling away that right and that freedom. It is giving the police and the Home Secretary more and more powers to place restrictions on that fundamental right to protest. So the police have long had extraordinary powers to limit the place, duration and numbers on a protest, but now there's lots of other things like the degree of disruption, the amount of noise, public annoyance, nuisance. All these extra restrictions have been given to the police to use at their whim. Sometimes they may use them wisely, sometimes they may abuse them. So I just think of, not long ago, 2 Just Stop Oil protesters climbed the Dartford Bridge and unveiled a big banner against oil and gas and coal production. It was a peaceful protest, yet those 2 people, one got jailed for 2 years and 8 months, the other got jailed for 3 years. That's more than some rapists get. It's more than people who cause grievous bodily harm often get. It is absolutely shameful that in a democracy, any peaceful protest can ever suffer such a draconian, disproportionate and unreasonable sentence. So that is why I say that we have to row back against the government's restrictions on the right to protest. It may mean that sometimes we're inconvenienced or annoyed by protests, but that's the price you pay for living in a democracy. Defending the right to protest is fundamental to democratic societies. And we must not turn around and praise the protests in Syria against this Syrian dictatorship, and then use similar laws to repress people in this country. Of course, the British police didn't shoot down democracy protesters like they did in Syria, but the level of civil society repression has been escalating, and we need to call that out. We need to say that in a democracy, we should all have the right to protest. Thank you.